The stranded pilot lit a fire, only to bring the planet's native huntresses out of hiding. The emergency pod hit the frozen ground with a sickening crunch, throwing Lieutenant Marcus Chen against his restraints hard enough to knock the wind from his lungs. Alarm screamed in the cramped space as systems failed one by one, each warning light blinking out like dying stars. Through the cracked viewport, he could see nothing but endless white, snow, ice, and the pale blue sky of a world that wasn't supposed to exist. Marcus fumbled with the release mechanism, his fingers numb despite the pod's failing life support. The hatch finally gave way with a hiss of equalizing pressure, and bitter cold rushed in like a living thing. He stumbled out onto the ice, his breath forming clouds in the frigid air. The wreckage of his fighter lay scattered across the frozen plain, a trail of burning debris marking his descent from orbit. He was alive. That was something. The planet, officially designated as uninhabited per the Colonial Survey 3 years ago, stretched out before him in all directions. Mountains of ice rose in the distance, their peaks lost in swirling snow. The wind howled across the plain, carrying with it the promise of death by exposure. Marcus pulled his flight jacket tighter, knowing it wouldn't be enough. Not for long. His survival kit contained the basics, an emergency beacon that was currently broadcasting to no one, since his entire squadron had been destroyed in the ambush, a medkit, water purification tablets, and, most importantly, a plasma lighter and fire-starting kit. The survey reports had mentioned frozen forests in the lower valleys. If he could reach the tree line visible in the distance, he might survive long enough for rescue. The trek took 3 hours, each step a battle against wind and cold. By the time Marcus stumbled into the shelter of the first twisted trees, strange things with blue-black bark and silver needles, he could barely feel his feet. His hands shook so violently it took 4 tries to gather kindling into a pile. The plasma lighter flared to life on the first attempt, igniting the dry needles and small branches he'd arranged. Smoke rose in a thin column, then thickened as the fire caught properly. Marcus huddled close to the flames, feeling life slowly return to his extremities. He'd need shelter, and soon. The sun was already sinking toward the horizon, and he had no idea how cold the nights got on this world. He didn't notice the watchers until the sun had fully set. They emerged from the darkness between the trees like ghosts, their movements so fluid and silent that Marcus didn't realize he wasn't alone until one of them stepped into the firelight. His hand went instinctively to his sidearm, but froze halfway there. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin the color of glacial ice, marked with darker blue patterns that might have been natural or might have been decorative. Her hair, if it could be called that, fell in thick silver strands past her shoulders. She wore armor made of what looked like bone and leather, carried a bow nearly as tall as she was, and regarded him with eyes that glowed like pale amber in the firelight. She was also, unmistakably, not alone. More of them appeared, materializing from the forest shadows. 6, 7, 8. Marcus stopped counting. All female, all armed, all watching him with the patient focus of apex predators deciding whether something was prey or a threat. The first one spoke, her voice a melody of sounds that Marcus's translator chip struggled to parse. After a moment, it caught up. "You burn." "I was cold," Marcus said carefully, keeping his hand away from his weapon. "My ship crashed. I mean no harm." The huntress tilted her head, the movement eerily bird-like. "You burn the old wood. You send smoke to the sky. You call us from the deep forest." She paused, and something that might have been amusement crossed her alien features. "Perhaps you do mean harm. Perhaps you are foolish. Perhaps both." "The survey said this world was uninhabited," Marcus said. "Your surveys are blind." She moved closer, studying him with unsettling intensity. We do not show ourselves to those who fly. We watch. We remain hidden. But fire. She gestured to his small blaze. Fire cannot hide. Fire speaks. Fire screams across the dark. Another of the huntresses spoke, her words harsh and quick. The first one replied in the same language, and a debate ensued. Marcus caught enough through his translator to understand they were arguing about what to do with him. Some wanted to kill him immediately. Others advocated for leaving him to freeze. None seemed particularly interested in helping. Wait, Marcus said, and was surprised when they actually stopped to listen. I'm just trying to survive. I don't even want to be here. My ship was destroyed. I'll leave as soon as rescue arrives. Others come? The lead huntress's expression hardened. More sky people with their fire and noise? Maybe. Probably not for days, maybe weeks. Marcus met her glowing gaze. Look, I understand this is your world. The survey was wrong. But I'm not an invader. I'm just a pilot who had a very bad day. The huntress was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she spoke again, this time to her companions. The debate resumed, but shorter this time. When it ended, she turned back to Marcus. I am Kareth, first hunter of the Frost Shadows. The council has decided. You may live, Skywalker, because you are wounded and alone, and because you spoke truth in the face of certain death. But your fire has revealed us, and so you have created a debt. A debt? Marcus asked warily. When your sky people come, you will tell them we exist. You will tell them we have watched them from the beginning, counted their ships, learned their patterns. You will tell them this world is not theirs to take. Kareth's eyes blazed brighter. And you will tell them that if they come as invaders, they will not find us as easy prey as they found you. Marcus swallowed hard. The colonial expansion had been encountering resistance on multiple fronts. The board wouldn't be happy to learn another world was inhabited, especially one they'd already laid claim to. But looking at these warriors, at the casual confidence with which they moved, at the weapons designed for a harsh world and harsher prey, he believed every word. I'll tell them, he said. You have my word. Kareth studied him for another long moment, then nodded.
Come.
You cannot survive the night with only that tiny fire. We will shelter you until your people come, and perhaps you will learn something of the world you tried to claim. She turned and walked back into the darkness. After a moment's hesitation, Marcus gathered his gear and followed, leaving his fire burning behind him. As they moved through the forest, he realized the trees were full of shapes, more hunters, dozens of them, perhaps hundreds, all watching from the shadows. The survey had been wrong about more than just habitation. They'd been wrong about everything. And Marcus's simple fire, lit in desperation against the cold, had just changed the course of human expansion in this sector forever. Sometimes, he reflected as he walked deeper into the frozen forest, surrounded by alien huntresses who could have killed him in a heartbeat. The smallest survival choices had the biggest consequences. His fire had called them from hiding. Now it was up to him to make sure the message they sent back to humanity was one of warning, not war.